So here we review the LanParte HHG-01 3-axis gimbal. We're going to look at a whole pile of things from design issues through to overload, various operations at various speeds and a bunch of enhancements. But the first problem we've really got to talk about is the fact that the hole for the record button is just not big enough. It fouls and it calls the camera to switch on and off, which caused all sorts of oddness when I was doing the initial tests. The second problem's not so bad. The settings button, again, too small, but a quick trip to the workshop with a step drill, gently working the holes out to the right kind of size. Got to be careful with that, you don't want it snatching. So there you go, there's the new hole, and the record button works absolutely perfectly now, and you can actually get at the settings button, which is particularly useful. Here's another odd thing. The case is laid out too far to the left, so when you've got the GoPro cage on, it doesn't fit. The balance weight carrier doesn't fit on its spigots, and that position there I'm showing you is the one that I normally use for the GoPro. Balancing doesn't always work. You'll see that we pressed the button and nothing happened, and here's balancing normally. This actually is with the balance weight in the recommended position, and you'll see it's not quite level. This time we've got the balance weight right in the correct position, and now we're going to do some movement tests. There we go. See the way that the thumb screw for the GoPro cage catches first. Of course, in the other direction, everything works considerably better. There we go. And that's actually a long way before it loses gimbal lock, so I'm really quite impressed with that. Balancing inverted is an issue. In the pitch and the tilt direction, it's perfectly okay. But in the pan direction, it doesn't realise it's inverted, and it just runs to one end to the other end with positive feedback. Now, modifications to software just to say, look, let's change the directions when we're inverted would make this whole gimbal a lot more useful. Here's our solution. Made up a bracket and put it on a microphone boom stand so that we can get it much lower to the ground. And here's the kind of shots that we were getting. There's Pipping out for a walk, and again some another low level. All the footage here from the GoPros, by the way, is at 4K. Obviously it's taken down to HD for this video. Coming up here is the kind of shot that this thing was meant for, the walking and talking shot, although I thought I'd make it a little bit more difficult by taking it through the trees with the branches slapping against the gimbal, and as far as I can see there, no real problems. Now we're going to start speeding things up a bit. So this is beginning to run with the gimbal and kind of walking backwards with the gimbal, which is a little bit tricky, but I think you can see there's not too much step action here, so that's working okay. Now let's take the speed up a little bit more. This next shot with the car reversing is going to end up with me running up the driveway trying to keep up with the thing. And you'll see just how this looks. I think this is looking fairly smooth at the moment. The car makes the turn, and then as it pulls away, I'm going to run after it. And you'll see the action of my footsteps as I'm running quite quickly. But that's not too bad. This stuff, by the way, is as it come out the camera. It's not been stabilised in Final Cut or anything like that. So here we go. We're up in the ante now. We're taking the speed up to around about 10 miles an hour. We've got two passes here from Clover. She's going to go down the shallower part of the hill. That's all working quite nicely. Then we get up the top, come down the steeper part of the hill, and we're coming up 15 miles an hour now. But that wasn't enough for us, so what we did, got the bike out. So here we go. Bike is up to around about 20 mile an hour, round about here. Gimbal's holding nice and steady. Here we are at 25 mile an hour, again holding nice and steady. In fact, I'm quite impressed with that, considering that's hanging out of the car by a fair old distance. Then we took it up to even faster speed, so we're coming up 45 here, and you can just see the gimbal's beginning to lock. Back down to 30 mile an hour, in fact exactly 30 mile an hour. We kept it exactly 30 mile an hour, and again that seems pretty good. So the sweet spot of this thing is around about 35 mile an hour. Here's accelerating out of a village to about 50 mile an hour, and we lose gimbal lock. Now here's the overload test. We got hold of a Sony RX100 Mark II, Mark III, not really sure what I've got, but you can see with a whole pile of lead and taking off the GoPro bracket, we kind of got the thing to balance, and it's not too bad. You can't move it around anywhere near as fast as you can with the GoPro, but yep, it balanced. And just at the last bit of the dying light, we went out into the garden to try and grab a bit of footage, and you could see that it is a bit sluggish. Actually, the RX100 is pretty good, but the light was really going here.